you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Martijn Knevel from Idyn. I think I also demoed for other people here, I think a year ago. I will do a really short introduction of Idyn because I just want to show the product that I planned for today. So who is Idyn? We're an ISV based in the Netherlands. So ISV, the term you heard before. We are creating software for NAV, only for NAV, so that's where we focus on. And we have sold over 2,000 licenses now in more than 40 countries. I'll do it like this. We have a couple of hundred partners in the world using our software, and a lot of them also reselling the stuff that we have. And our products are broad, so we have a developer tool. We have tools to create reports, we have tools to upgrade your reports. So if you're upgrading from 2009 to NAV 2016, it can take up to 2 days per report, and we cut that down from 2 days to 2 seconds, which is pretty good, and it works, by the way, it's true. But today, my focus will be on document capture. And document capture is our solution to get paper documents, or PDFs of course, into NAV. And not only that, we can do anything and everything you need to do with the data on the document. As you saw on the roadmap of Microsoft for NAV 2016, they also do OCR now. So after I'm done with my demo, I will tell the differences between what we're doing and what Microsoft is doing. So I'm running, actually, I was planning to show 2016, but we finished it last Friday. So I'm still using my old demo environment, but the functionality is the same. So what you see here is NAV 2013 R2, I think. But we run from NAV 370 up to 2016. So even if you're using older version, even if you're working in the classic client, that's no problem. We can use the same functionality as I show you now in the classic client. So what we'll see here is that I have some document categories here, and I will focus myself on invoices today, because invoices is something that probably all of you are working with. I can see that there are 4 invoices waiting in the system for me. And these invoices came in by email, which is a nice feature to use. So if Turnkey uses the product, they have invoices at turnkey.co.uk. And whenever an email comes in, the email is picked up, the PDF is put into NAV, and no one has to touch it. It can run automatically. Of course, we can also use the scanner on the desktop, and at the moment, still the most used is the multifunctional big scanner in the hallway, where you put on 100 invoices and they will scan and put into the system. So if I open up the invoices, I can see the invoice here. And for me, these invoices that I'm using today are new for me. So I have a clean system, I haven't set up anything. And what the system asks me is to create a template for each of your vendors. Creating a template for each vendor sounds like a lot of work, but it's actually less work to create a template than to type in an invoice once. And that's something that I want to prove here. So what I see here is a document, and the document is from Loose Home Furniture. And even though I haven't set up my system, it tells me it's Loose Home Furniture. And the reason why he did it is because he found a VAT number. And the VAT number is also on the vendor card. So it will tell me, okay, this is probably an invoice from Loose Home Furniture. If the VAT number is not on the card, it will look for search name or for address or postcode, or if it's there, he will find it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create that template that I want to use. And if I'm creating that template, what will happen on the left is that the fields will pop up, the fields that you as a customer defined as these are the fields that I want from the document. So for an invoice, it's pretty straightforward, but you can also use this for delivery notes, you can use this for contracts, for whatever you like. And of course, we use the standard NAV fields, but every field you have in your database, we can add just like that. So I will say, yes, I want to create a template. And the system will now look for the fields that you want to have. Now, to be totally honest, it's a demo document, it finds everything, big surprise. But in normal situations, and in the first scan, it will find something like 60%. And what you need to do is tell the system, okay, the things that he didn't find, or maybe find on the wrong spot. So, for instance, what I want to do is walk through the field, see everything is there. I see no order number, which is correct, because it's not there. The currency code, it found it, but it's my local currency, so it's still empty there. And for instance, I want my posting description, and it didn't know what to do for my posting description. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm on the empty fields, I'll just go with my mouse, say, this is where you find the posting description. And now you're done. Creating this template and fixing the first 3-4 errors that it made will cost you about 10 to 20 seconds. But after you created that template once, it will know forever. So it's really not a lot of work. I got 2 errors in the bottom. One is a warning, and the warning states the payment terms are not correct. So on the document it found a payment term of 5-6 weeks, and in my system I have 60 days. So it warns me, like, okay, maybe there's a problem, maybe there's not. It's up to you to do something with it. The other error that it has is it doesn't know what to do with the cost. And it asks me, okay, can you please give me a GL account? Because I want to put this into the system as just a cost invoice. The later invoices I will show will also read the lines and everything. So what I can do here is tell the system, okay, for this invoice, I want to put it on a GL account, and I will use this one. And now the system will ask me, okay, the next time an invoice comes in from this vendor, is it the same GL account? So in many cases the answer is no, but in some cases, like cleaning costs, they will also always go to the same GL account. So in this case I'll press yes. If you want to have multiple GL accounts, no worries. If you want to have multiple VAT amounts, VAT percentages, it's all possible. So now I'm done creating my template. So if I register this document, what it will do is screw up my screen. Let's see where it is. There we go. Like this. So it shows me the document that came in, and it shows it on the standard purchase invoice card in NAV. So I have all the information, I have the document that came in, I can see the line information, I can see the correct GL account, and I can see the original invoice attached there as well. So what I want to do now is, I will steal someone's wallet. What I want to do now is send this one for approval. And I will come back to the approval a bit later. But I know that someone will have some remarks on this invoice when I send it for approval. So I want to inform the people that need to approve. So what I can do here is I will say this is my purchase order or my contract, and I will drop it there. And when I send this document for approval, everything I add to this invoice, and it can be a PDF, it can be an email, it can be an Excel, whatever, will be going through the process as well. So this one has been sent for approval. Now the next invoice shows up, which is from the same vendor. So the only thing I need to do is recognize the fields. And what you see is that it found everything I need. It uses the GL account that I gave in, and it uses the posting description because I showed him where the posting description is. So now I only register this document and send it for approval. And this goes on and on for a couple of times, and then Louis Home Furniture comes in again. And now someone at the administration can think, okay, we've got 20 invoices and they're all correct, all 20 were correct. So I don't want to do all the manual labor anymore for this particular vendor. So what you can do per vendor is tell the system, okay, the next time an invoice comes in from Lewis Home Furniture, create the invoice and submit it for approval. And that means that if Lewis Home Furniture sends you an email to an email address, the email is picked up, the PDF is put into NAV, the invoice is created, and it's been sent for approval without anyone touching it. Of course, this is something that you won't do with every type of vendor, but you can choose per vendor what you want to do and how far the process can go. And that's gone. So now I'm receiving an invoice with lines. So there are two ways to cope with this, and I will show one because of the time. We can read the lines just as easy as we read the fields, and it doesn't matter if the lines are on 10 pages or one. You can just read everything that's on the line. However, the nicest way of doing it is if you use purchase orders in NAV. And if you use purchase orders in NAV, the system can find the correct purchase order that this invoice is for. So if I'm going to create this template, it finds everything. And you can also see that this vendor was really a nice guy. It put on my order number. So if your vendor is using your order numbers on his invoices, then it's really simple. We can do an automatic match. We only check if the amounts are correct and then put it through. If your vendor is not a nice guy and they're not putting on the order numbers, or maybe there's something incorrect, or there are multiple order numbers on one invoice, we have a tool that's called match lines. So now what will happen? So now what will happen is the system will show you, there we go, the purchase receipt lines that are in the system at the moment. If there are no receipts in the system yet, you can use the order lines if you do want to. So what you're going to do now is a manual job. So many people think that if they're using capture OCR software, that everything happens automatically, 100% like magic. That's not the case. We can do 70%, we can do 80%, sometimes higher, sometimes lower, but still the people will need to take a look at what they're doing and documents that are maybe having problems or it's unclear. And in this case, what we're doing is, although it's a manual job, we help you with the information that you need. So what I can do now is I can do a manual check on the document saying, okay, these 250, that's this one, and go on and on. So this can be helpful if you have multiple orders, multiple invoices all coming in on different dates. So the biggest bakery in Holland use document capture, and they are ordering 100 times a day at the same vendor. And once every 2-3 weeks, that vendor sends an invoice for half of the stuff. And I mean, the software can do a lot, but we cannot guess which order is what. So in that case, it will be a manual job. In this case, it's easier because I can see that there are not too many orders in the system. I can do an automatic match. And what the system will do is find the order that has the exact same amount of this one. So it will look at the lines, how many lines are there, and it's the same. And it will look at the subtotal, the VAT, and the total. And if these are all the same, it will say this is probably the correct order. We can use variances in this. So if, for instance, if you are using, you're selling or purchasing things with day prices, you can say, okay, if it's between 1 and 5%, it's okay, and otherwise, someone has to take a look at it. Was that a 5 or a 10-minute sign? 10. So I will let that what it is. So I have booked the 3 invoices from Lewis Home Furniture in my system. Normally, we will do bigger demos, and if any of your people want to see this, we can also perform online demos for you in person, and we can go through the whole system. But for now, I want to show you the approval. So approval can, of course, be done in NAV. So the people are using NAV, and they see the screens with the documents that they need to approve. However, what we can also do is let someone log in a portal which uses web browsers, but also works on your iPad, iPhone, or Android, or Windows Phone. So what I can see here is I'm Richard Lam, and I'm the one who needs to perform the approval for this document. So approval can be done based on GL account, based on amounts, based on a flow with 10 persons, with 5, with whatever. It's up to you to decide how the workflow of approval is going. So what I can do now is open the document, and what we'll show in here is the original document. I see the line information. I can see that someone, me, drag and dropped a document on. So all the extra information is there, and it doesn't matter if it's PowerPoint, Excel, whatever. You can also view it, view that document in the web browser. So I have all the information here, and I will say, yeah, okay, this is okay. I will just approve this one. Next one comes up, and I can say, and I'm pretty high up in this company, so I can say, well, someone said, and I see it's in Dutch now, but someone picked a GL account, but I think it should be another one. So even in this web browser, I can say no, this was software. Oh. And it changes, and it's changed now into NAV as well, even before I'm approving. So I will approve this and approve the other one. And if the approval is done now, someone in NAV can pick it up, or otherwise someone in the company received an email, there are invoices for you to approve. And that person will receive an email once a day, so not for every invoice that is created. Last but not least, if I go back to my NAV, I can see that there's actually only one released, because that's the one that didn't need further approval. So if I post this one, post the invoice, it's gone. So now 2 or 3 weeks later, you receive a phone call from your manager or for the purchase manager who says what happened with that invoice and has some questions about it. So how do you find that invoice? Of course, when you go to your vendor card, the invoices are always there. So that's a place where you can find your invoices. But the most genius part of the software, I think, because I use it every day, is document search. So what we do is we read your document and put the stuff you want in NAV. But what we do in the background is we read the whole document. So even the fields that you're not using in NAV, we know about, and the text. So I can search for anything. It can be item number, it can be date, it can be postcode, it can be bank account number, whatever. And if I search for it, it will find the documents that have that word in it. And I can show the PDF, and there you see the word CR. But if I search for this bank account number, it finds it as well. And that's a really, really fast way to get to your documents instead of running through all your invoices and see, there is the number I was looking for. So this high-speed, short demo, as said, we really want to perform demos for you per company, so just let Stephen know, and we can do an online demo for you. However, to close off, NAV 2016 has OCR as well, which is, they're saying a standard solution. It's really not the case. It's going automatically. That's nice. It's actually from Lexmark, and what they are doing is really OCR. I'm putting it on like this. It's really OCR, and that's what they're doing. So they're reading a document, and then it stops. So we have a document which is much, much longer than this, where you can see what they're doing and what they're not doing. So we can read lines, we can recognize dimensions, we have multiple VAT numbers, we can automate the whole process. Whereas the standard solution of Microsoft actually only reads the data, and if it's a custom invoice, they can handle it, but if a custom invoice has multiple VAT amounts, that's a bummer. I have 5 pages of this. So, to be honest, of course we didn't like it when Microsoft was doing it. On the other hand, we think that if customers are looking for OCR and they're looking into Microsoft, they will also look into the other solutions in the market. So that's the whole idea. But then the pricing came and we were happy again. Because we didn't expect, actually we thought it would be a free solution, but they're actually really, really expensive. So you can have 70 invoices a month for free, or sorry, 70 pages a month for free, but after that you will pay heavily. So if you're looking into an average customer using document capture, they are around 500 pages a month. So then you already have a difference in the 5-year lifespan, because you have to pay Microsoft Lexmark per page. And that number only adds up the more documents you are doing. So we are pretty happy with what we're doing. To finalize, and I won't demo it because of the time, but we got a lot of questions on expenses. And with expenses, I mean just the receipts. And I traveled to US a month ago, and I came home with 270 receipts that were everywhere. And that's a pain, and that's a real pain. And because we have the software using the invoices, using the approval, and everything is in NFV, we thought, why not do something with expenses? So what we created is expense management. And what expense management is, it works on all phones, of course. And you can capture your images or your receipts just with your phone, just like this. So if I'm in a bar or a restaurant, I will just take a picture of my receipt and it's put into NFV. And that is really, really a time saver. And what's more amazing, for instance, I have a company credit card. So the statement comes in from a credit card and it's put into NFV. And I will get a message on my phone saying, okay, the statement came in, we're missing 4 pictures of the receipts. And that's really a time saver. And we can take a look at car registration, so how far did someone drive to his customer, so we need to reimburse him X pounds per mile, not euro per kilometer. So this is what we're doing with expense management. And I can show you afterwards, but I think my time is really done now. So Stephen, up to you.
Thank you very much indeed. If I can